or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
It's Hershey's Choco Mania at Krispy Kreme Donuts. Try the Galaxy Brownie with Hershey's Dark Fudge, or delight your chocolate taste buds with Hershey's Chocolate Iced Donut. How about the Black and White Chocolate Chip Dream? And overload your taste buds with Hershey's Overload Fudge Cake. OMG, it's Hershey's Choco Mania going on now at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking
With the first pick.
It's the last ball you gotta bat. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. Beautiful Wednesday morning nonetheless. Nice mid-70s out there. Not so rainy like it was yesterday, but you are listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As always, 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the Forgotten Coast. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. And always, Jay, where can they download that free mobile app?
On the Google Play Store or Apple Store.
Bingo. And what do they got to search, though?
I don't know. I'm just looking at your new spectacles here.
I did.
You're looking
Thank
good.
You. Yeah, I got some new spectacles. I can see a little bit better today.
Nice.
So things are progressing. Here.
Am I looking okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, it's getting better. Not as red as I've seen you at some moments in the show.
Okay, good.
But that might change with your poll question that you're going to bring up a little bit later on here in this first segment.
It very well could be.
But yes, inside the Google Play or Apple Store, that one you do need to search 1043 ESPN Northwest Florida. You can download it. You can take us anywhere you go that has an internet connection. We'll get you rocking and rolling there, that's for sure. Want to go over a couple quick local things before we get into the poll question, because the poll question is some may say it's a little dicey, but we're going to roll with it because that's how we do here on the Inside Drive, is we like to push that needle a little bit. And it's not even it's something that I didn't even realize there was another option.
People do this daily.
Yeah, Yeah, pretty much there. Yeah, daily.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're regular,
it's not. Yeah,
and
it's
if you're not,
it's not taboo.
eat some yogurt
by any means.
No, it's not, and that's what we like to talk. We like to talk about things people don't like to talk about.
Right there,
you guys are setting it up though to where people are going to answer a specific way.
Yes.
Well, I hope it's a specific way.
Is there going to be another?
Yeah, a bidet. I gave it away a little bit there. Gave it away a little bit there. That's okay. I do want to mention Bozeman making some more history for their school. Bozeman's Derek Williams makes history as the first state wrestling champion. Bay County High School wrestlers competed last weekend in the Florida High School State Athletic Association individual state championships down there in Kissimmee. And at the end of the 3-day event, it was well represented with 7 athletes finishing in the top 8 of their respective weight classes here from Bay County. Bozeman's Derek Williams made school history after winning gold by defeating Jensen Beach's Gian Ortiz in the final of the Class A 120-pound weight class. Williams becomes the first wrestling state champion in school history. Here are some other local wrestlers that placed. You had Preston Newfield. He was wrestling in the 113 class. He finished 5th place. He's from North Bay Haven. Also from North Bay Haven, you had David Mercado in the 190 weight class, finished in 5th place. Out of Rutherford, you had Dylan Mallett. He's in the 106 weight class, finished 7th. Mosley had 2 7th place finishers. One was Andrew Yeats. He was 165 weight class. And then Logan McAllister in the 285 weight class finished 7th place. And then one more from North Bay Haven. That was an 8th place finish. James Oliver, 120 weight class from North Bay Haven. So some pretty cool stuff. Does this answer our poll question that we had earlier this week on Monday?
What's that?
What the next state champion was going to be?
Oh, yeah.
Now this is individual.
Yeah.
So are we counting it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
wrestling.
think
So it was another.
Yeah.
Poll question answered in 2 days.
There you go.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff.
Good stuff. Absolutely. Also do want to mention, too, as we always try to support all the local sports here on ESPN Northwest Florida, and it's coming from the Impact Nation Travel Ball Team. And I appreciate Joseph Gardner sending this information in to me so we can talk about it. That's the Capital City Challenge. It was a basketball tournament over in Tallahassee this past weekend. And their 3rd grade was led by Cam, I'm going to butcher this one, Elgersma and Asher Jennings. 4th grade won, as well as led by John Robert Sheldon and Jamin Whiteley. And then 5th grade, you had Joseph Gardner, Jelly Bryden, Aiden Jackson, Riley Kennedy led the way in scoring. 6th grade, Jet Blick, Kiona Kalama, and Braden Campbell leading the way in scoring there. In 7th grade, you had Evan Rodriguez and Trayson Myers lead them. 9th grade, you had Aiden Thomas, Connor Jennings, and Boston Blick lead the team. 8th grade girls, you had Taylor Thomas, Bailey Gibson hit a shot to send into overtime, and then Taylor Thomas hit a go-ahead 3 to win it there in overtime. So always excited to promote all the kids here in Bay County, and Impact Nation does some wonderful jobs, and I've also seen the Gulf Coast Crush as well out there on the baseball fields doing some awesome stuff. So a lot of good local action there, Jay. Also want to mention it is up and you can sign up, and that is the ESPN Northwest Florida Bracket Challenge. Hard to believe we're talking about that.
I know.
It is right around the corner. Championship week is underway for some of the conferences, but really gets underway next week for the Power 5 conferences, and then I think March 17th is when everything gets underway.
Sunday.
St. Patty's Day.
Yep. Sure.
Or is that Selection Sunday, the 17th? Yes, Selection Sunday. So you can sign up now. Obviously, once the teams are all announced, we'll get underway. But it's free entry with potentially some sponsor prizes. We're working on a few things, but there'll be some cool stuff to win. But it's also just competing with your fellow listeners here on ESPN Northwest Florida. So all you got to do is search in the groups ESPN Northwest Florida. It's also on David Hayes' Facebook page, and we'll continually share it between now and the time to get going. Is it time, Jay? You ready to bring up the poll question?
Sure.
Oh, hold on. David said hold on. So no, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to mention that you might like this one? You're a big Larry Bird fan, weren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know where Larry Bird played college basketball?
Indiana State. And March is also known for bringing people that may not be known to the limelight as March Madness is getting ready to kick underway. And this year, one of the names to look out for is Robbie Avila. He is from Indiana State, ironically. He has some pretty awesome nicknames. Kareem, not Kareem, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Steph Blurry, and Larry Nerd. He's a mid-major team with a chance to make a run. His game is unconventional, but legit, some likening him to the plays of Nikola Jokic. He averages 17.6 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 3.9 blocks per game, and the team is projected to make the tournament, which broke the AP Top 25 earlier for the first time since he was there. So keep an eye out. Don't forget that name. Obviously, Larry Bird went on to do some cool things.
I brought that up in one of our afternoon delight debriefs the other day.
You did? I knew I recognized Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of like Vanilla Vic.
That's right.
Yeah, Vanilla Vic.
That's you, baby.
That's you.
It used to be. I don't have that stamina anymore. That's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, are we ready? All right, Jay.
Oh, I'm going to be the one to...
You're the one that brought this poll question to the table. I could do it if you want me to, but it's more fun if you do it.
All right. So if you go boo-boo...
What's boo-boo?
Boo-boo. If you go poo-poo...
Okay, number two. You could have said number two. All right. Everybody does.
Yeah.
There's books about it. I think they're called Everybody Poops.
Right. How do you go about taking care of cleanliness? Do you... do the tush push.
What's the tush push?
Now, the tush push is where you go between the legs.
From the front.
From the front. Okay. Or do you do the tush pull and you reach around and do the tush pull?
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know there was a second option here.
Really?
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the inside
You're
drive.
a puller.
I'm a puller.
Yeah, that's what
I guess that's how I was taught, or, just makes more sense from a physical standpoint. Seems easier.
We have a good listener that I know does the tush push.
Okay.
And he's been doing it for a long time.
Hey, interesting.
And so
the poll question is the tush push or the tush pull?
Right.
Or another option. Maybe you're lucky enough to have a bidet.
Is that in England? Is that over in England?
It's a European thing for sure. I think France more so than anywhere, but people have them.
I thought you would have a bidet.
What does that even mean?
I don't
That seems very, very judgmental. You're a tush pusher.
I've never used a bidet.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Neither have I. They don't really have a plan on it either. I don't know. But great poll question.
We'll see. What do you think wins?
I gotta hope the push pull is I'm going to call that the conventional way.
Right.
Because I've never heard of now you don't discuss this with a whole lot of people typically. And,
right.
But I've never really heard of anybody going from the front. But you have a listener or a good friend of yours that does.
That does, yeah.
Hey, and to each his own. Like David always says, a lot of different ways to skin a cat. Apparently, there's 2 ways to take care of yourself after number 2. Actually, there's 3.
Yeah,
if you had a
3.
bidet.
Yeah.
I guess you get a water hose too, depending on where you're at. But
it just brings I had a conversation with this person many years ago. It just brings you closer together.
Absolutely.
You there's a bond there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wiping.
we want to know. We want to know what the deal is.
I can just imagine Jay being like, "No way, I got to see this, man."
Let's hope not. Well, it brings you closer together, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Whew. Interesting. Good poll question.
We'll see. We'll see who wins. But
Yeah.
Yikes.
Interesting. I did not know there was a second option.
I'm a puller.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So
glad to know.
Yeah.
Excited for that.
See, we're bonding.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Yeah, you got to talk about the uncomfortable stuff. Stuff is only uncomfortable if you make it uncomfortable.
That's right.
And it's just weird how all that stuff kind of goes down. Did you watch any college basketball last night?
Auburn took care of business, right?
As they should have, because Missouri has not won a game in the SEC. They are now 0-15 in the SEC, 101-74 in that. It was a little close at halftime. They were only up by 5, but certainly pulled away in that one and trying to. I don't really think if Tennessee wins tonight against South Carolina, Tennessee's probably got it locked up, even though they could lose to Kentucky and end up tying Alabama or tying South Carolina.
Yep.
Oh, there's a lot of scenarios because they're playing South Carolina tonight.
Okay.
So that's huge.
Tennessee, South Carolina could be.
David, do you know what the tiebreaker is for the SEC regular season championship? Because I
would imagine off rip it would be head-to-head record.
That's what I would think too.
But I'll look that up.
Which, if that's the case, then Tennessee beats South Carolina. They pretty much got this thing locked up because then they're going to have the head-to-head against South Carolina. But Illinois, even though they were favored 2.5 points in that game, Purdue came back. Illinois was leading at halftime. Purdue came back in a top 12 matchup. Number 3 Purdue. A lot of people are saying they're going to be a number 1 seed. Won that one 77-71. As you mentioned, Auburn won. Number 13 ranked team in the country, 101-74. And then Notre Dame and Duke. A lot of people thought Notre Dame and Duke. North Carolina and Notre Dame. A lot of people thought North Carolina was going to be looking ahead to the big matchup against Duke coming up on their Saturday game, but they beat North Carolina 84-51. Almost doubling their points in both halves.
Yikes.
So pretty aggressive stuff there. Kansas took care of business over K-State. Alabama felt the wrath of what Florida does to teams in down there in Gainesville. They did it to Auburn. I don't know if I think they did it to Tennessee too, maybe. I can't remember that one, but got ahead in the second half and didn't look back. They won that one 105-87. San Diego State, number 21 in the country, lost to UNLV in a close one, 62-58. And then South Florida, who's on a nice little run. There's a team you might want to look out for in the NCAA tournament. They took care of Tulane 85-72, and then you had one other top 25 team in action, and that was the Dayton Flyers. They beat St. Louis 100-83. But yeah, it's a big one tonight. Big one. Did you find out, David?
Yeah, so you got your head-to-head win percentage, which is win percentage in games between the tiebreaker teams, and every team plays its opponent either one or two times. And then you have it says nth place win percentage, so win percentage against the first place teams from the regular season, including tied teams. If still tied, apply the tiebreaker using the second place teams, proceeding through all teams in the conference if necessary. And then the third method would be a coin flip.
Oh, hopefully it doesn't get to that. But yes, Tennessee playing South Carolina tonight, Jay Henley. Big matchup right there on ESPN2 as they'll be traveling over there to Columbia, South Carolina. The Gamecocks taking on the number 4 ranked Tennessee. And South Carolina's, they're 17th in the country, and they've had some big wins, especially at home. So they were picked dead last in the SEC. And right now they're currently a game and a half back, or excuse me, 1 game back at Tennessee.
Who do you want to win?
Trying to think Auburn's best chance to win the SEC, because right now they're a game and a half back, tied with Alabama, and Auburn's got Georgia at home to finish up. I think they're going to end up, even if South Carolina loses or wins, they're going to end up a half game back.
I got you.
But so if South Carolina beats Tennessee, I think South Carolina's got the direct road there to the conference, because then they will have the head-to-head tiebreaker, as David mentioned. But if Tennessee wins, I think that's pretty much, even if they lose to Kentucky, they'll still have the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Gamecocks. I'm trying to kind of all figure this out as we talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, who do you want to win?
Yeah.
I know you're a Georgia Bulldog, but basketball's kind of not their thing.
It's not.
Which is okay.
Let's go Tennessee.
Oh, God.
So you're going South Carolina, I'm going Tennessee.
Oh, and I thought I was talking overall, to conference.
We're talking like the big dance.
No, no. Who do you think is going to win the regular season conference in the SEC?
I say Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
Tennessee wins tonight. They knock it out. Well, way to go out on a limb there. But yeah, I mean, it's close. You got 6 teams within 2.5 games, really with 5 teams within 2 games. But Tennessee is 13-3, playing the 12-4 Gamecocks. This is just in conference. Auburn's 12-5 after that win. They're a game and a half back, and Alabama falling to Florida last night drops them to 12-5, also a game and a half back. Now, they play each other twice, so I guess if it's split, then it head to head. If it's a split, then it obviously goes to whatever the next tiebreaker you said was.
Yeah, which would be their record against second place teams, and then third place teams.
And then if it gets going.
Which you don't play every team twice. You play at least once.
Yeah, you're one side. Yeah,
I think South Carolina's going to get them tonight. Tennessee's 5.5-point favorite, but I like South Carolina at the hizzy.
It's going to be a raucous environment there at Colonial Life Arena, and raucous indeed.
I like it.
It's a big arena. It's a big arena, but the student section's right on the court there.
There's some good games tonight.
I know.
BYU, Iowa State, UConn, and Marquette.
It's getting down to the nitty gritty. And if you love college basketball, it's almost like it's madness is starting right now.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. Big one tonight. We'll update the standings tomorrow after everything and see how they go. But yeah, just crazy to see South Carolina pick dead last. And Missouri's 0-17 in the conference. At least they're doing better in football.
That's true. Yeah,
I think they got a good softball team, too.
Yeah.
Golf, I don't really know about.
I don't hear much about golf at all. Yeah.
But yeah.
Who's the best golf university?
In the SEC?
Just collegiate. Like, which one do you hear the most about?
Well, they did a deal on Oklahoma back a while back.
Yeah, but no.
But
yeah, but no.
I mean, Georgia, come on.
Georgia's not that good.
Huh?
Who do you think has put out the most? I guess that would be a factual
That's a
one,
different
right?
one, yeah. Putting out the most players in college. Georgia's put out a lot, but guess who's ranked number 1 in the country right now?
Texas?
No.
I'll say
Alabama.
Florida.
Auburn. With North Carolina being ranked second, Vandy being ranked third, Arizona State, Washington, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. That's the Golf Week coaches poll on that one.
Did not know that.
But yeah, you hear a lot about, Wake Forest, and Alabama's been good for a really long time. Georgia obviously has too, but it's they're your national champion winners. It's just so tough. We talk about it all the time to make it all the way to that final championship match. But yeah, Auburn right now number 1 in the country.
Craziness.
Good stuff. They've always been around. They're pretty good. Patton Kazire, Jason Duffner back in the day. I mean, all these. And I think college golf is so important for the success of these pros because it prepares you for the pressure in the tournaments and all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
But don't forget, we got Keith Fleming coming up. Go ahead, David.
Houston's got the most titles.
That actually makes sense.
16.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, this article is from 2023, so
yeah,
we haven't had 2024 happen yet, right?
We're in it, but national championship's not till, June-ish?
Yeah.
Late May, early June, something like that. Conference championships at the end of April, then regionals, then national championship.
Jim Nance played there.
There you go.
Had no idea.
He was a Cougar.
Yeah.
I've got some more juice on Azinger as well. We'll probably talk about that in the 1240 segment.
He's unleashed.
He got caught on a couple hot mics, and it's pretty exciting. I'm a big Zinger fan now. I was not a Zinger fan before, but even more so. Yeah. Also want to mention Bay High Baseball is doing a fish fry fundraiser. That's going to be on Friday, March 8th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's on the Bay High football practice field. Plates are $12. It's going to be grouper, shrimp, fries, and baked beans. You can text 850-272-9358 to place an order or for delivery options, or you can just swing by. Check it out. A lot of people doing these fish fries. I know one of the teachers at University Academy, Miss Baba, she's battling breast cancer right now, and the university's doing a fish fry for her there, too.
That is awesome.
A University Academy.
Yeah.
We're not a college.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that. But yes. All right. Lots of good stuff to talk about today. And, of course, it's Wednesday. So what's that mean, Jay?
Let's see. Wednesday, it's hump day.
True.
Keith Fleming at
40 miles an hour.
Yep. 40. That's right.
Scary.
What else we got going on?
This is pretty much just Keith.
Keith? Yeah.
And your poll question.
Have
you done your answer yet?
I haven't. I will at the break, though.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Absolutely. Interesting poll question. You got Keith's got to bring an afternoon delight debrief to the table, so anxious to see what he has. Going to be hard to top your one yesterday. That was pretty spectacular.
You think Keith's a tush pusher?
I hope not. I just showed what I think. I don't know. You'll have to ask him.
Are we going to ask him?
Are we? Yes, you're going to ask him that question.
I've got to roll out at some point, so yikes. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can figure it out and handle it. But we'll go ahead and take our first break of the show today. We appreciate you listening. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 9.
Saturday, April 27th at Bay Haven Charter Academy. In the main event, it's a tag team showdown with Exodus versus Mike Steele and Mr. 850. Then, Kelly Mann and Kelly Clark in the Wrestling Against Cancer Championship bout. Plus, exciting women's wrestling. Doors open at 5:30. Bell time 6:30.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Wednesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze out of the west around 10 miles per hour and temps near 71. We will have a variety of slight fog and mostly clear skies tonight and be warm at 58. And slightly foggy in the morning and then mostly sunshine tomorrow and a high 72. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's time for a new kitchen from Kitchen Designs. Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach offers full service cabinets, countertops, and flooring. Cash and carry cabinets available the next day. Kitchen Designs has been family owned and operated for over 20 years. Ask for your free cutting board with any purchase through March 10th. Call Kitchen Designs 850-775-4150 or stop by their showroom 7934 Front Beach Road and on Lynn Drive in Santa Rosa Beach.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
The locals love him.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I want to mention real quick as well, don't forget about that QB Vision Gulf Coast Pro Style Camp Series coming up at Santa Rosa Beach. I believe it's going to be at the Emerald Coast Middle School, if I'm not mistaken. That's open for quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends, grades 5 through 12. You got to visit qbvision.net/camps to register.
There you go.
Sign Liam up for that one today.
Sweet.
Looking forward to spending some more time with those guys. It's fun to see and listen, and I try to observe. And I'm reading this book, not to go on a tangent, but I'm reading this book that Josh Woodham recommended called Quarterback Dads. And I've gotten through the first 3 or 4 chapters and starting to get into cool stories, but the first beginning of the book is like outlining the quarterback dads. And like there's 13 like negative types, and then there's 3 positive types. And we're probably going to go over those either tomorrow or Friday when you're not going to be here Friday.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got to leave after this segment?
Well, I'll hang out till 11:50ish.
Like a hair and a biscuit.
Like a hair and a biscuit.
Well, you'll have to find out what the poll question will be. We talked a little update again about Zinger, right? Paul Azinger, we talked about it, was yesterday, might have been the day before, I can't really remember, but he kind of revealed what happened in his negotiations with NBC to potentially be a continue on his commentating there in the booth. And they gave him an offer for what he was currently doing. He wanted to renegotiate, and they walked away from the table. So he was not the happiest about that, but what we talked about yesterday seems like he was living his best life, that's for sure. But Azinger broke his silence in a big way over the weekend, speaking for the first time since his sudden exit from the network in December. He also let it rip on a few other topics, calling the NBC Sports head of production, Sam Flood, a real a-hole for handling his departure. Obviously, he wasn't very happy about that. Criticizing NBC's repeated cost-cutting measures and an apparent efforts at censoring him, apparently being a questionable comment he repeated for the record about legendary boxing promoter Don King. So they're pulling up old dirt and that kind of stuff. But here's one that I want to get your thoughts on, Jay, because this was one of the things I want to talk about, is he was blasting the PGA Tour product as a qualifier for the LIV Tour.
Yikes.
That's the first time I've really ever heard anybody say that, and I could kind of see that. So Azinger's assertion that the tour has become a qualifier for the LIV was extra spicy. The best players aren't playing in all PGA tournaments. That's over, he said. Let's just say it like this. The PGA Tour has fast become the qualifier for LIV, and it's a sad day for golf. Was that a true sentiment? Not really, but it was revealing to hear Azinger's perspective on golf tour's wars, however jaded they may be, after 2 years without a LIV whisper in the NBC booth. Obviously, he probably was told he can't say anything about that in the booth. Say what you say about Zinger, but if there's one thing we've learned, it's he'll never let the facts get in the way of a good story, don't we all?
Man.
What do you think?
I don't know. Do
you think it is?
Well, there is. The house divided will never stand. I mean, you hear that, and I don't know who. That's probably Thomas Jefferson. I don't know who knows.
TJ, nice.
Yeah, just but
you ever been to his house, Monticello?
No. Oh, in Monticello, Florida?
No,
or Georgia?
No,
Monticello,
Northeast.
Oh, no,
they might have called it Monticello.
Monticello.
I want to say it's in. Oh man, I've been there. I want to say it's in Pennsylvania, but now I'm not trusting myself.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, no, it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
But no, I mean,
continue.
yeah.
Virginia. Makes sense. One of the 13 original colonies, Jay.
Williamsburg?
I don't know if it was in Williamsburg. Could have been. I think it was in Monticello.
But Monticello.
Or Cello. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of the two.
But Azinger.
I like cello.
Yeah.
Cello. I like cello.
Lemoncello.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, too.
Yeah, I mean, until we figure all this stuff out, I mean, everybody's going to get their feelings hurt, it seems, and they're picking sides, right? Like Azinger's done pick sides with the Liv, and I mean, there's just a big division going on.
I don't know if he's picked sides, but he's just more saying like, "Hey, y'all need to get your stuff together because this is continuing to get worse and worse and worse."
Absolutely.
And I really don't think I mean, we're almost to the Players Championship. We're at Bay Hill this week.
Yep.
And Players Championship next week. Augusta's a month away. And they don't have anything figured out. Again, I think it goes back to that strategic sports group and the investment that they've put into the PGA Tour has closed that gap to the money that they needed.
That's it.
So maybe now the PGA Tour doesn't need that PIF stuff. But Rory has clearly said that in order for the game of golf to succeed is that the PIF has to be involved somehow, which I still like to speculate. It would just be wild if Rory left to go to the LIV Tour.
That would.
But I mean, Jim Monahan certainly backed off what he said.
Yeah. So is Zinger going to go to another station?
No, I think I think he's enjoying kind of retirement a little bit right now. But it'd be wild if he went to be a live broadcaster like him and Faraday.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I would pull some things. I'm sure Greg Norman's talking to him.
Faraday would be good with Zinger.
Yeah, Faraday's just good in general.
Yeah, yeah.
The Irishman.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. But yeah, interesting to see Zinger kind of letting it fly a little bit there, and telling everybody how he thinks. And he the most surprising reveal from this was that the former lead analyst shared that NBC had actually engaged with Azinger about signing him to a contract extension, going even as far to offer him a new deal matching the financials of his existing one. But then obviously things fell apart quickly after Zinger then tried to get in some negotiations, which is what you always do, as an agent or whatever. You never just take the first thing offered. You're always going to negotiate, whether that's for any job or contract or whatever it may be. So, but then NBC immediately didn't take kindly to that and walked away from the table. So that's kind of what led to all this stuff being put out there by Zinger, as you mentioned. Very strong grip, right?
Strong grip.
Right to left action.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
For sure. Tiger Woods, remember we talked about the pro member down there in Seminole.
Yes.
Didn't really play very well.
He didn't.
No, I think they finished tied 44th in the one net competition and tied 33rd in the gross competition. But that's a partner event, so you really don't know what was going down with his other person there.
Yeah, he's done.
I'm going to pull Alan Watson here in this segment and talk about some of the new drivers and the testing that's been going on. Anything that speaks to you, Jay, on these new ones? I got an interesting fun fact, right? What do pro golfers want? They want the ball to spin less, right?
Yeah.
Most all the time. Well, TaylorMade has the new QI10 that stands for 10,000 MOI or inertia. I think it's inertia. That's what the I stands for. But Brooks, Rory, Dustin Johnson, they've all put the core TaylorMade i10 in play over the TaylorMade QI10 LS. The QI10 LS is the low spinning driver, which is a bit surprising. Rory was seen initially testing the LS model, but switched to the core earlier this year, as well as putting a longer shaft in play. The TaylorMade QI10 LS low spin is said to be one of the lowest spinning heads on record, so it's interesting to see some pros opt out for the core model. Being the golf guy that you are, why do you think that is?
Obviously, I mean, you want less spin.
But they're opting to the head that doesn't spin lower.
Oh.
That was the whole point of what I just said.
Oh, never mind then.
I mean, you're leaving at 11:50, so you're just checking out already. That's fine.
No,
but what do you think?
Maybe you want to get the ball up in the air as quick as possible. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to get that ball up in the air as quick as possible. It just seems like the industry changes each and every year. It's, 1 year you're at 7.5 degree driver. The next year you're at 11 degree driver. And I don't know. It's like it changes every year. And I don't know why. I wish somebody could help me answer that. But
I'm sure there are people.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's
less
money.
RPMs.
It's money.
So what you're telling me though is that they're wanting more RPMs on
I guess that the low spinning driver is maybe too low spinning because you can get
Knuckle
too
it
low
out there.
spinning. Yeah, absolutely. So for these guys with the club head speed that they have, which typically the faster your club head speed, the more spin you generate. So you want the ball, you want the club to try to produce as little spin as possible.
Yeah.
But my thought is maybe they're just trying to push carry distance a little more.
Yeah.
And, when you have a low spinning driver, obviously it's going to carry a little more, but it's more designed, once it hits the ground, it rolls out. Maybe these guys are just trying to carry it further and not worry about the rollout as much.
Yeah. I mean, I know like in the last couple of years, if you stand behind somebody hitting a driver and you put your index finger up like at an angle in front of you, at an angle. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you don't want to see that ball. I'm trying to explain it. Like,
you're basically determining the launch angle with where your finger is.
Yeah. The longer that you
That's like pre-track, man.
Yeah, that's pre-track, man.
Yeah.
But the longer you can't see that ball and it stay in that, in your index finger, the better.
Because you want your ball flight to be like an airplane landing, right?
That's right.
It doesn't go woo with
Yeah.
a big old curve. It kind of coasts out and then slowly, it doesn't just fall out of the sky.
Right.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. So you put your finger out there, it blocks the ball. The longer it blocks the ball, the better that ball flight is.
Right.
Gotcha.
But me and you back, when we were in our early 20s playing, it would start out. See if your ball flight was like mine though, but it would start out so low and then it would rise.
Yeah, balloon flight's not good.
And then it would just fall straight down.
Yep.
But that's the way the ball flight was back in the day.
Yeah, because the technology.
Because of the technology.
Yeah, I've always had the very high ball flight.
From the get-go?
Right from the get-go.
Oh, okay.
Like I can hit a 3-iron over pine trees kind of thing from 30 yards away.
Yeah.
But that's just because of the nature of, my build. I have very long arms.
Right.
My levers create a lot of angle back to the ball, so I launch it. But yeah, interesting, and if, no Alan's Golf Plus, one of the sponsors of the Afternoon Underdogs, and he can get you fitted exactly for exactly the club you need. And that's the thing nowadays. It's like we talk about, these quarterback works and the baseball work, all these different things that you're working on developing your game. If you're going out there and playing golf with just a club off the rack, it may not be the right one for you, and it could be hurting your golf game without you knowing. Now, is it cheap to go buy new clubs? No.
Yeah.
But, it just depends on where your angle is for playing golf.
Well, and I know recently in my case, I was hitting a Callaway X-Hot driver from 2015 recently.
Yeah.
And then our good friend Michael Shears, who's playing in a tournament this week, I know he's not listening, but he got me fitted into a PXG driver, which is a newer one that he ended up with. And, man, the difference in
So you have Michael's driver, my irons. Whose wedges do you have? Your own wedges?
No, maybe Terry. Yeah. It's just a
What about
hodgepodge.
your fairway woods and hybrids? Or do you have a hybrid?
I own the bag.
Ooh,
on the bag.
Nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
There you go.
There you go. And your putter, too. The putter's yours because it's got the old cork grip on it.
It does.
And that's because if you throw it in the pond, it'll float.
Yes, it will.
Smart.
Yep.
I know you've never thrown a club in the pond. So.
No, I wouldn't.
No, that seems terrible.
That's terrible.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah. At the old Hombre.
There you go.
Yep. It was a 6-iron, and I was, I don't remember what hole it was. It was probably 3 or 4, a little par 3, bunch of houses around. And it'd been a while since I played and hit a couple of shots. They kept going in the water, and I was like, you know what? Go find these balls.
Yeah, there you go.
Just slung it.
Did you feel better after that, David?
I didn't play better, so no.
No.
But that was the last time that I was disappointed in myself for doing that. You know what I mean? Even that day. So yeah.
Some would call it a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you just brought me to a story that I had completely forgot about, and was texting with some of my high school teammates from our senior year and the golf coach at our senior year back up in New Jersey, and we were playing this perfect correlation to the story you're talking about. I'm trying to find the exact words in it, but I think I could just pull it off the top of my head. That would have been from Saturday. Hold on, I changed it to Rock's Golf Group. Where did it go? Anyway, I can't find it, but I'll tell you the story. So we're playing a match against Seton Hall Prep.
Cake Eaters, right? It was a parochial school with Seton Hall Preparatory Academy, so you had to pay to go there, all that stuff.
Kind of like Jesuit down in South Florida.
Absolutely. Jesuit, yeah.
Jesuit,
yep. Yeah. Seton Hall's not a Catholic school, though, like Bergen Catholic or Hudson Catholic or any of those places. But anyway, we're playing at their home course, which at the time was a private club. It was Rock Spring Country Club. And I believe we were playing. Seton Hall was a good team. They were in our same conference, despite them being private and us being public, but that's neither here nor there. So we were playing them, and I was playing with a guy, Brian Poniatowski, good Polish guy, still a good friend, and we called him Pony. So me and him were 1-2 that day, and we're going out against their 1-2, and there was a kid on their team, Scott, I forget his last name, but me and him used to battle all the time in the conference championship. It's kind of one of those things. But anyway, I don't think it was him. I could be wrong. It might have been him. I didn't even remember this story until they brought it up. But we're teeing off on the third tee box. It was a par 5. Okay. And the kid hit a terrible shot and threw his driver, and it got stuck in a tree. Well, being the ingenuitive kids that we were, we told him, well, just throw another club up there. Throw you through it. It'll knock it out.
Yeah.
Guess what happened?
Yeah, it got stuck.
It got stuck.
Yep.
He was not really happy at us, but he didn't have to take our advice.
Right.
But you were like, yeah, why don't you just throw another club and get it down? And there you go.
At least you didn't use your club.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not stupid.
Right.
Y'all didn't keep trying? Be like, hey,
I think he figured it out after the 3-wood. So he had to play the rest of his round without his driver or his 3-wood.
Did you beat him?
I think we did beat him in that match.
Nice.
But that golf course is actually public now, and they've changed the routing. It's a really, really old, great golf course, but it's now public and managed by Kemper Sports, which is kind of ironic. But I would, if I still worked for Kemper, I would see if they could put a plaque on that tree.
Unbelievable.
But what's funny is my buddy Pony. He sent this, and I had no idea he did. He tagged the GPS coordinates at some point. He still lives up there, and tagged the GPS coordinates. So he sent me the screenshot, and it goes right to that tee box, right where that tree is. So I thought that was funny. But
you always have good stories, man. I mean, those are great.
Not like
memories.
yours. Not like yours.
I remember one time Robbie Gardner. I totally remember it. City Park was the 18-hole golf course that we played at Griffin. In Griffin.
Nice.
And
how many courses in Griffin?
There's a few.
Nice.
There's a few.
Cool.
Maybe three. But City Park. Obviously at a city park, you got groups of people walking.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're all kind of like Bay Point, right?
Yeah.
Everybody just walking.
Everybody's everywhere, yeah.
And there was a group of high school kids that were walking down the street, and they were mouthing off at us.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You see that happen out there at Bay Point sometimes.
Yeah. And so they ended up going past the green on this par 5, and Robbie goes, man, you know what? We're about 180 yards out. I'm gonna hit this 5-wood here. And I'm like, Robbie, you hit 5-wood like 240. He goes, exactly.
Ooh.
I'm like, oh shoot.
Is that assault with a deadly weapon?
Right. And so he pelts this 5-wood, and it never left that group the whole time, and it lands like right next to them. And so then they start running towards us. There's like 8 of them.
It's a brawl.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And just 2 of y'all?
There's 3 of us.
Okay, all right.
And here I am. I'm like,
y'all got weapons though. You got golf clubs.
Exactly. So I start freaking out. I'm like, man, this ain't good.
Not
they're
you.
running.
You don't freak out. I've never seen you freak out.
And so they start running towards us, and I'm like, Robbie, what are you gonna do? He goes, dude, I got 14 clubs here. Like, they don't have a chance. He grabs his 7-iron, and he runs these guys through the neighborhood.
Like Braveheart?
Yes.
Like running after him?
Yes.
I like it.
And finally, we finished the hole. We go to number 6, the par 3.
Did you let him hit another shot, or did he have to play the ball from deep behind the green?
I carried his bag as he was running through the neighborhood.
You're double looping at that point.
Yeah, I'm carrying his bag. And then he meets us up on hole 7 after he ran these guys down through the neighborhood. And I said, man, did you get one? He's like, man, I came close, but they'll never do this again. I go, yeah, you're right, Robbie.
Hey, good stuff.
That's crazy.
Good stuff.
Man.
A little bit like Tiger's ex-wife there sounded like. Except she got a piece of the car, that's for sure. Don't know if she got a piece of Tiger. One will probably never know. But you are listening to The Inside Drive. Jay's got to leave in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick. I'm watching Luka with a friend who's not a basketball fan. And he says, this guy's pretty good, huh? I said, yeah. And he goes, why does he move slower than everybody else? It seems like an illusion. Like, how does he do that? How does he get there and he's able to get his shot off?
It's the Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Stop by Bill Bird Kia during the President's Day sales event going on now and drive away the new 2024 Kia. Now offering 4.25% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sportage. You get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at Bill Bird Kia, PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sportage with $2,267 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 3/4/24.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Have a quick stretch first.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
Must have pulled something playing hoops last week.
And Jay Henley.
I know you're not putting that rock up from here. You ain't got no Jay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, remind everybody real quick about the poll question.
The poll question: are you a tush pusher or a tush puller whenever you go boo-boo?
Number
do you
two.
Do you go between the legs or do you go around?
The old reach around.
The reach, yeah. Yep. The reach around.
There you go.
Yep.
That's the question. It's up on our Facebook page.
And, I mean, the researchers, scientists, we're all still trying to figure this out.
There's probably no right way.
Yeah, I get there's not. There really isn't. It's just... I
feel like Mythbusters should have had this one.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Because they could use real science to figure it out.
Yeah. We're trying to figure it out right now.
I'm trying to see what the people do.
I know.
I still feel like it's going to be overwhelmingly the old reach around.
That's what I'm thinking for. But, man, if we can get, like I said, if we can get to 20% of some tush pushers, man, that...
then it's a different world than I live in.
It is. I agree.
Let's talk some NFL, right? Jay, you love the NFL. You did so good in fantasy football this year. We're really looking forward to you playing again next year, both in the Bay Point League and the Inside Drive. You'll have to be in the Inside. I'll be in the Inside Drive League with you.
All right.
Didn't make it to the Champions League.
Yeah.
But I did win the Bay Point one back-to-back years. So good stuff there. But you know what ended yesterday afternoon?
Ended. I have no idea.
I know you don't have an answer. You don't have the correct answer to this.
No.
The opportunity to franchise tag your free agents ended yesterday. I think the deadline was about 4 p.m. Eastern time, so 3 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. I'm going to go through the list of whether teams used a tag or didn't use a tag. There's a lot of free agency stuff getting ready to get going, and next Monday is when teams can start renegotiating with their own players that are in free agency. But then the 13th, which is next Wednesday, is when the new league year starts, where other teams can talk to free agents on different teams and potentially sign and negotiate contracts with them. Although Russell Wilson was given approval by the Denver Broncos to start talking to other teams now, because they've formally obviously announced that when the new league year starts, he's going to be cut. Again, hitting that largest dead cap in NFL history.
$85 million.
Look at you.
Yeah.
85. Ocho Cinco,
yeah.
That's what you tell me anyway.
That's it.
Do you know what a franchise tag is? Do you remember? We talked about
it recently and don't have a clue.
It was created in 1993. I had this ready to go just because I knew what your answer was going to be. In 1993, it was created. The franchise tag is a tool that NFL teams use on their pending free agents every year. A player who signs a franchise tag agreement receives a 1-year contract at a set rate for the next season. And that set rate is typically determined, I think it's the top 5 in that position, what their average annual salary is in that one. So we talked about it, I think it was last week when we talked about it. And why they do that is because, instead of signing a long-term one for some of these people, they don't know what they're, and it's typically running backs fall into this category quite a bit because of the lack of durability, so to speak. But let's go through some of these teams so you know what's going on. The Arizona Cardinals, they did not use a franchise tag. Your former team, the Atlanta Falcons, before you divorced them last year, they did not use a tag as well. The Baltimore Ravens, they used their tag on defensive tackle Justin Matabuke to keep him for another year. The Buffalo Bills, your new team, Jay, did they use a tag or not use a tag?
I think they did.
They did not.
Oh.
They did not tag anybody. Man. Carolina Panthers used their tag on edge rusher Brian Burns. The Chicago Bears did their tag on cornerback Jalen Johnson. Cincinnati Bengals used their tag on wide receiver T. Higgins, keeping him on the team for at least one more year. The Browns, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Lions, the Packers, the Texans all did not use their franchise tag. The Indianapolis Colts, they used their franchise tag on star wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr., as he will be on the team for at least one more year. Quarterback L'Jarius Sneed was franchise tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs. One of your favorite players in the league, Jay, on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you remember who it is?
I do, because it was he was an offensive lineman.
Incorrect.
Oh.
He's a linebacker. But it's the person you're thinking of.
Yeah.
And they used the franchise tag on him.
What's his name?
You said you rememred.
Oh,
you just flat out lied.
I want to say like Will Smith.
No, it's your quarterback of your favorite team.
Don't know.
God, this is going south quick.
What?
Josh Allen.
Oh, you were talking about Jaguars, and I was like, what?
Yeah, but his name is the quarterback of your favorite team.
That's right.
I'm trying to give you context clues, and you're just completely missing.
Forgot about the Josh Allen.
You're already
the real Josh.
You
Allen.
already got. They're both Josh. They're both real. They're both named Josh Allen. Just one's a little flashier because it's a quarterback. But yes, the Jacksonville Jag. David, did you have something to chime in on that one?
No, you covered it all.
Okay, that's good. But yes, Josh Allen was franchise tagged by the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Chargers, surprisingly, and we kind of talked about that they weren't going to franchise tag running back Austin Eckler. Them, the Chargers, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Vikings all did not use franchise tags. The New England Patriots tagged Kyle Duggar. He's a safety. That's also a transition tag. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll roll with it. I have no idea. New Orleans Saints, the Giants, the Jets, the Eagles, the Steelers, the Niners, the Seahawks all did not use their franchise tag, leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the only other team in the league that used the franchise tag on safety Antoine Whitfield Jr. per the team. So, with that being said, there's a lot of action that's going to happen this year in free agency.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of notable running backs. What if Saquon Barkley goes to the Houston Texans? Wouldn't that be something? And then stays healthy.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs last year. They got obviously some great wide receivers. And, their running backs aren't bad, but putting a guy like Saquon Barkley over there with CJ and Nico and Tank Dell, it'd be pretty impressive.
A transition tag is essentially the same thing as a franchise tag, just a little bit cheaper.
Ah.
And it can affect, like if you were to get traded or something like that, it would affect the compensation. For I think
There's
your
so
club.
many, it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, what is that like? What they call the second year of the franchise? If you were to tag a franchise,
back to back, a transitional time.
So there you have it. Thanks to ProFootballNetwork.com for that. Derek Tate works over there.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, nice. But it seems like it's only like 6 or 7 teams that actually tagged anybody. But guess what? You got to go.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
We're just second.
See ya.
We're just second windy, y'all. I was going to ask you
tomorrow.
Well, give me 1 minute of your time.
Go ahead.
All right, because I love asking you guesses.
Yeah.
Right. What is the franchise tag value for a quarterback? Remember, this is the average annual salary of the top 5 in that position.
Franchise tag. Is this for a year?
Oh my God, do you even listen?
Is it for a year?
Yes, it's only for 1 year.
Okay. Let's go $25 million.
A little bit higher. Not a bad guess. Though.
Really?
Yeah.
32.
Average of the top 5 contracts, average annual value. Higher than 32.
38.
Yes, $38.3 million is your average franchise tag value for quarterbacks. Obviously, there was no quarterbacks that were franchise tagged. Running back, $11.95 million. We've already kind of talked about that one, so I didn't ask. What do you think the wide receiver franchise tag is?
Let's go 8.4.
No, way higher.
Oh, 14.7.
Higher.
17.9.
Higher.
19.4.
Nope, higher.
21.2.
21.8.
21.8.
The average annual value of the top 5 is $21.8 million in the league. Man. If you need to go, you can go. I'm going to ask David the rest of them.
We need a Family Feud ESPN.
Look, I need to get the Love Connection show done first before we start doing anything else.
True. That's true.
That was supposed to be our Valentine's.
I know.
We'll have to find another day on it. Maybe we'll do it on April 1st.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then we'll go through the whole thing. We'll say April Fools at the end, and it'll be a good time had by all.
Right. That'd be great.
It's probably not on a weekday. But.
You guys have a good afternoon.
Instill some golf knowledge in the... Ooh, it's on a Monday.
Is
it's like the worst day for April Fools.
Yeah.
It's on Monday. All right, go.
Why is that bad?
Or not bad, but... I don't know. It's a Monday.
Yeah. Mondays. Ooh.
In case of the Mondays. That's from Office Space.
That's right.
All right, we'll go teach your guy that you thought was Scottish and turned out to be American.
Oi.
Over there at the golf club. Enjoy the weather. Put some sunblock on. I know you're not going to. Dr. Ward would be disappointed.
Hey, the man just turned the light.
Hey, we're not done. Just because you're leaving doesn't mean we're done. But thank you for that's a holiday date. We'll leave the light on for you. It's one of those franchise.
Oh, I think of Motel 6.
Motel 6.
Yeah.
Bingo. You got it.
There we go.
All right. You're probably going to be a lot closer to these than Jay was, but average for the tight end, the franchise tag value.
I'll say somewhere around 12.5.
Woo! I told you you'd be better than 12.7. That was pretty dang impressive there. And so 12.7, the average, or the franchise tag value for a tight end. Offensive lineman. This one's a little surprising to me, but then I start thinking about the top 5. Then it makes sense.
So that means that it's probably it's higher than what I'm thinking, because I'm like in the 11 million.
Yeah, it's definitely higher.
Range mark.
Yep.
So let's go. Is it more than the tight ends?
Yeah.
Okay, 15.7.
20.99. But you got to think about guys like Trent Williams who are getting paid a ton of money, and some of these other big time, offensive linemen out there, because it is the top 5, right?
Mm-hmm, top 5.
So that kind of pushes these values up. But the defensive side of the ball, man, it's kind of where it's at. It seems defensive end an edge rusher. What do you think?
Okay, edge rusher, 23.
A little bit lower at 21.3 million.
That was going to be not 21.3, but
but your next one,
yeah.
All right, defensive tackle, very close. Obviously.
Close to the same number. Really, I was going to go probably like 6 million lower than that. So I'll say 19.8.
22.1, actually higher than the edge rushers.
Wow.
The interior linemen get a little more on the top 5 there. But then I start thinking about some of the interior line guys and then all that stuff. Linebacker.
Oh, and this is just linebacker across the board, not middle, right?
Nope, okay. Just total linebackers.
All right. Man, this has got to be lower than the line. It's not. It's higher.
It's higher. Yeah.
Not
a whole lot.
You should have just let me be wrong.
I know. I only do that to Jay.
27.
24 on the dot.
24 on the dot.
On the dot.
Look at there.
Yep, absolutely. And then the cornerbacks, a little bit lower.
Okay, so let's go for them 19.8.
Holy crap. You got it on the number. 19.8 million. That's good stuff.
Hey, well, when you gave me the little bit lower, I mean, I don't know where 19.8 came from.
Hey, but no, spot on. 19.8 there. And the safeties, a little bit lower than that.
Okay, so we'll go 17.3.
Oh, 17.1.
Oh,
you're
close.
So much better at this than Jay. Man.
Practice, man. Practice. Like if, you guys on the golf course are going to be so much better than what I am.
Hey, that's pretty impressive. Now, this one is a tough one because it's completely outside. Your kicker, your place kicker, your annual average value of the top 5 in the league is what the franchise tag number is for them. Probably a hard one on this one.
I'll say 4.7.
Apparently not that hard for you. 5.98.
5.98.
You were almost within a million there. But yeah,
ain't bad.
Franchise tag. So that kind of tells me, I mean, obviously, it seems like the averages on the defensive side of the ball may be slightly higher than the offensive side of the ball. Which
kind of confused, like not confusing, but it just goes to show that I really think that we're in this cycle right now where for the last 4 to 5, maybe even 6 years, the offense has been the focus for all NFL teams. And I think that is coming to a point now where you're going to see the defense becoming maybe not more of a focus, but the defenses are starting to recognize what the offense is doing a little bit better. And that's why we saw the number 1 and 2 defensively ranked teams in the Super Bowl last year.
Absolutely. And you know, you say see what they're doing because the offenses have certainly evolved over the last 10 years, and it's like the defenses had to kind of catch up to them a little bit. I mean, and to be honest, that's why the Chiefs were in the position they were. I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback currently playing in football, but they kind of stood, I mean, I was just being nice to all the Chiefs fans, but they stood by their defense. That's kind of what got them there this year versus previous years. It was certainly their offense. So to that exact point you said.
Yeah, no, what my facial expression was because you guys are talking about maybe hiring, the 49ers are talking about hiring Brandon Staley. Are you scared about that? Or
we did. We
hired him?
We hired him as an assistant head coach.
All right.
But we promoted the secondary coach to, I forget his name off the top of my head. The defensive backs coach got promoted to defensive coordinator. That came out about last week. I think it happened over the weekend.
Good thing that it wasn't Staley. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but just for the longest time, I was thinking maybe was he an offensive guy or something because it was not working out defensively over there.
So they did bring him on staff as the assistant to the head coach.
Well, hopefully that works out for you guys, though, because, man, I still feel bad for Wilkes.
Yeah.
Because he had them boys humming.
Yep. But, I mean, we keep losing coordinators. 2 years we lost them to head coaching jobs, and then we fired the third one.
I mean, ask the Eagles how that worked out for them last year. They started out real hot, 10-1, but then they started to notice those effects.
The Niners even reached out to Spagnuolo with the Chiefs. Obviously, he didn't take the position because he's going to be staying with the Chiefs, but hey.
That would have been awesome.
That's one way to figure some stuff out, that's for sure. But when we get back, we'll be joined, as we are every Wednesday, by Keith Fleming with all your golf, daily fantasy, sports, and prop bet updates, recapping last week and previewing the big signature event over there at Bay Hill. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. So I saw this over the weekend. There's a lot of talk about the Dak Prescott extension. Here's what I noticed with the Cowboys over the weekend. Tyron Smith, left tackle. Right now, the Cowboys and Tyron Smith, left tackle, are miles apart. And it made me think about this. Have they wasted his career?
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Wednesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze out of the west around 10 miles per hour and temps near 71. We will have a variety of slight fog and mostly clear skies tonight and be warm at 58. And slightly foggy in the morning and then mostly sunshine tomorrow and a high 72. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk. Tell me what you know.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay has left the building just in time for our 12 o'clock segment. But before we get into it with Keith Fleming, want to mention our great studio sponsor. That's Bill Kramer, GM, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor, located right there at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. And if you have a mailbox, which you probably do because that usually comes with where you're living, they're sending out a really awesome promotion they're doing for spring. Is your boat ready for spring? And if it's not, call Kramer Marine and Outdoor. Your first service call is free. That is up to a $150 value, and they're pairing that with Fuel Mule. The delivery service will give you a free delivery on your first gasoline order boat. So if you got a mailbox, keep on the lookout for that.
We need to do something like that for ESPN Northwest Florida, like have like the Coach James Hill Show Inside Drive and Afternoon Underdogs, and just send it out to every mailbox.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Randy, if you're listening, we need a mailer. We need a mailer. It's really easy to do nowadays. All you got to do is type some stuff in, and the post office will do it for you. But it is Wednesday, and that means only one thing. We got a big signature event coming up this week, and that's the PGA Tour heading over there to Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Keith, how are you doing on this beautiful Wednesday?
What's going on, Ryan? I see that Jay bailed on me.
Yep. It's kind of his thing. He claims he's got this lesson that occurs every once in a while on Wednesday with a guy who he thought was Scottish, and turned out he's not. He's American. But yeah, I didn't ask you. I forgot to text you, but I was hoping you had an afternoon delight debrief just real quick before you jump into all your good golf action.
Oh, do I have an afternoon delight debrief?
Yes.
Come on, Ryan.
Yes.
I know
look,
what's going on.
You got to remember who I sit across here 5 days a week from. So sometimes you got to remind people more than you should. But obviously I don't have to remind you, and I appreciate that.
Very fair. So let's go to the world of wrestling.
Okay.
If you know, I am a huge professional wrestling fan. WWE is as good as it's been in a very long time, if not ever. And that has been highlighted by the return of The Rock, who obviously when I was growing up was one of my favorite wrestlers. Well, what's great about The Rock right now is it's been a long time since we've got heel Rock. And for those that don't know what that means, it basically means he's a bad guy. And when you are a heel in wrestling, you can get a lot more creative in what you say and do in the ring. And we saw that on Friday night when The Rock returned to SmackDown with Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline. They were in Phoenix, Arizona. He entered to a chorus of boos from the people in the arena, and he immediately started hammering them. And the highlight of that was he got them, I wanted to congratulate y'all for being number one in the country for these things. He went on to say that was for cocaine use and meth use, which I thought was pretty hilarious. But I'm like, was The Rock spitting facts, or is just something that he was saying? No, he actually was spitting facts, both for cocaine and meth use, per addiction counseling statistics. Phoenix, Arizona, number one in both. Mesa, Arizona, number two in both. Omaha, Nebraska, number 3 in both. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 4th in both. And then the one difference, and this probably won't surprise too many people, for cocaine, it was Las Vegas, Nevada. And for meth, Fresno, California. But The Rock was on one, as they say, just very entertaining stuff. If you used to watch wrestling and it's been a while, come back in. Really good stuff. The Rock will be there again on Friday when him and Roman Reigns will confront Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
There you go.
What The Rock is cooking.
There you go. That was a good one.
Made my day right there.
There you go. There you go. Look at him. Not only trash talking, but trash talking with facts, which is even worse because you have no rebuttal to that.
Exactly. And what was great, too, is the crowd actually erupted at first and cheers, and I'm like, well, maybe they're proud of it. Good
yeah, maybe they were users during the event.
Yeah, that's us, baby. Yeah.
Hey, you gotta preach to your audience, right? You gotta know who you're
They
talking
were
to.
having their own little afternoon delight, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the all-night delight.
Yeah. That's the craps tables till 5 a.m. watching the sun come up. Delight. But yes, Keith, great afternoon delight debrief there. We appreciate you bringing that one to the table. But let's dive into it. How'd last week go for you?
Well, it went okay. It wasn't great. The DFS plays really let down by a couple of guys missing the cut. The highlights were I did have Cam Young to top 5 at 5-1. My boy Allen on the show was really big on Billy Horschel. He had him to top 10 at 8-1. But kind of just to give you a recap of how the week went, 2 of our biggest bets, both that we thought were going to hit and also that we put actual money on, was mine was Sam Ryder to top 20 at plus 550. Allen's was CT Pan to top 20 at plus 440. And they both were in the top 20 for practically 65 holes
almost the entire
of the golf tournament. And then they kind of fell apart down the stretch, having me and Allen both wanting to say some things that would be non-appropriate for a radio audience. And they both ended up missing the top 20 by just one shot.
So, man. Were you
I can ask you, though, as a golf fan, that's what I was going to say. We're going to get into, like, what happened to the bear trap. Like, I knew the wind was down the first day, so that made a little bit of sense, but these guys just cooked the course all 4 days, even on the days it was windy.
That was going to be my question to you. Were you surprised how good the scoring was? And even the final round, I mean, obviously it got split between Sunday and Monday because of the weather, but the gentleman who won, I mean, we talked about it all the time here with you, is, you know, it's so hard when you have the lead going for your first-time PGA Tour event, and even not even your first one, just to win in general. You see a lot of guys that have a lead going into that final round collapse, and that did not happen. But yeah, it's almost like they did better on the bear trap for certain ones. But were you surprised that the winning score there was 17 under par?
I was both surprised and angry because I lean heavily into data, and I was leaning heavily into bogey avoidance, playing difficult golf courses. And instead, it turned into a pitch and putt where, I mean, yeah, we had 2 guys tie us the win or to go into a playoff last year at 12 under. But other than that, the score's been under 10 under. I think it's like 7 of the previous 9 years. And there was 27 guys in the field that shot 10 under or better this week. And what concerns me as a golf fan is the players have more power now than ever with the tour because obviously the PGA Tour doesn't want to lose any other guys to live. And I am worried that they purposely set the course up easier
good point.
to try to get more people in the field and make the players happy, which if we're going to just do away with difficult golf courses, I may be the most pro-live guy ever because I enjoy the occasional sweat. And this is actually supposed to be the 2-week period with this tournament, formerly the Honda Classic, and the Arnold Palmer this week that really outside of the majors is the 2 toughest weeks on tour year in and year out.
Yeah, no, and you saying that point, it does make perfect sense. I mean, Eric Van Rooyen shot 63 in the final round, split between 2 days. And guys didn't ever shoot those numbers at PGA National, especially. But I mean, I could see that being the case. I mean, I had told Jay, he had said, oh yeah, winner probably be 13, 14 under par. I was like, there's no way. I'm saying, like, I was like 9 under par wins this one. 17 under par, 4 rounds in the 60s, with a 4 under round in his final round, shooting 67 with Austin Eckroat getting his first PGA Tour win. But that kind of makes sense what you said. You know, trying to make it a lot of these guys don't play in this event simply because of the difficulty of the course, and obviously it's not a signature event, so the purses aren't as big. But I could see them making stuff maybe just a little bit easier just to keep the guys happy because, like we talked about earlier in the show, Paul Azinger went out and said, because he's had the departure from NBC and all his information starting to get out, that he called the PGA Tour a feeder tour for the LIV Tour, and you know, maybe they're feeling that a little bit, and that point makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and again, I just hope that's not where we're headed. I understand, like, week in and week out, I would much rather event, have a lot of birdies and eagles and guys really having a chance to go for it. But at the same point, I do really enjoy the tournaments, like I think we'll see this week at the Arnold Palmer. You know, obviously, like the U.S. Open is typically like this. I mean, we even saw that with the U.S. Open last year, right? Like, that's supposed to be the most difficult event. And if you look the last couple of years, they're making it a little easier and easier, and the scores are, getting lower and lower. And I do wonder how much of that is player input, because these guys don't like, obviously being made a fool of, which anybody that plays golf knows that shooting a 78 or whatever, like, it happens. That's golf. But for these tour guys, I'm sure it's a little harder pill to swallow than for me or you, who goes out there and has a really bad day.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, do you think too that with golf fans, right, and all this stuff that's going on, and there's some parallels with what's going on in the country and the division we have. Obviously, you've got some serious division in the highest level of men's professional golf right now. Do you think that too that they might be trying to get, like, the avid golf fan, like myself and you and Jay, that have been watching golf our entire life and know and understand the game of golf? We'd like to see some of those tournaments where it's just the guys are grinding and sweating and they're having to chunk, sand wedges out of the rough just to get a better lie in the fairway and struggling to make par. Or do you think, the tours want, more viewership? Because, like you said, it's kind of like all the other sports. It's more scoring. It's faster. Do you think that's maybe a factor as well on the golf side of things, them trying to, make sure that these guys aren't getting beat up out there, because maybe that engages more of the casual golf fan? Just a thought.
Yeah, maybe they're just copying the model of Major League Baseball, who in the early 90s, a lot of bad pub because of the strike, and just it was kind of a mess. And so what did they do? They're like, we're going to juice the balls and basically look the other way for steroids. These guys start hitting a gazillion home runs, and all of a sudden baseball's cool again and people are watching it. So maybe that is exactly what golf is trying to do, because they were quick to highlight that was a record score under par for that event when Eckroth got finished at minus 17.
Yeah, it just was very, very surprising. But kudos to him. And how about our boy Jake Knapp? I did not see that one coming. I think he finished was he in the top 5? I know he was definitely top 10.
I think it was either 5th or 6th. Another great showing by him. I did, again, not to toot my own horn, but me and Alan kind of got into this argument that because he's 29 years old, Alan's like, I don't see the, elite talent that you're talking about. Just watch the guy swing the golf club and see how far it goes. To me, he definitely has elite talent, particularly just hitting the golf ball. And if he continues to putt and chip well, which he has done now the last 3 tournaments, he's going to be a scary guy, because, even on a course like this week, all the par 5s are reachable. So for somebody like him, he hits a good drive on those 4 holes. He'll probably have like 6 or 5 iron into him. And he just has elite ball speed, club speed, and just, boy, he knocked that ball a long way.
Yeah, he can, and he proved in the tournament he won that, if he doesn't have his best stuff, he's still got the short game to win a PGA Tour event. But yeah, just crazy to see the low scoring and the vast difference to the Honda Classic of old, that's for sure. But let's pivot. We got a signature event coming up. This is the first time the Arnold Palmer Invitational has been a signature event, so it's the small field. Do they have a cut in this one?
Yes, again, it is so freaking confusing.
Just like,
I believe there's 69 players, and it's the top 50 in ties will make it through the weekend. So we're probably realistically looking at 10, 15 players missing the cut out of the field.
Yeah, which is originally when I thought they were doing all this, I thought they weren't doing cuts, but who knows what changed. Why cut that little amount of people out of a tournament? I just don't get it.
I don't totally understand it either, but I would, rather there be a cut, even if it's a small one, than none whatsoever, because I just think it takes cruise control off of these guys' plate, because not only obviously you're going to win more money by making the cut, but these guys are competitors. I say it all the time. You don't get to a professional level without being a really competitive person in any sport, and obviously you do not want to be one of just a handful of guys that miss the cut at an event, especially one named after, one of the true golf legends and icons, Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you were saying that, I was thinking it too. You know, the Live Tour doesn't have a cut, so maybe in these signature events, they're like, all right, we'll do a cut to prove the point that we are in fact doing a cut.
Team Petty.
But we're only gonna cut 15 players from the event. So yeah, who knows? But we got about 5 minutes left in this first segment. You want to jump into previewing this golf course, which I've had the pleasure to play a few times, and is certainly one of my favorite layouts and just a fun golf course to play.
Yeah, one of the toughest courses on tour. I think it's maybe the toughest par 72 these guys will just about ever play, especially when you consider that the 4 par 5s are not crazy long. A majority of the field with a good drive is going to be able to reach all these greens in 2, especially with the fairways being extremely firm there. But the reason they're able to do that, and it still plays so difficult, is it has 4 par 3s that are all 200 plus yards.
Brutal par
Yeah, I believe
threes.
they average at like 224 or something if you put the 4 together. So that's difficult. You add in 5 par 4s that are playing 450 yards or more. And then, oh, by the way, we got median-sized greens rolling at about 12 on the stent meter that will be as firm as the concrete outside your house, and rough that's 3 inches long, not only off the fairways, but literally a foot off the fringe around the greens. It is a crazy difficult venue.
Yeah, the setup is nuts. I've had the pleasure to play it twice. Once was in the summer, so we were playing on the Bermuda, and then once was, in fact, I want to say it was probably the ryegrass was still in play. So I want to say it was like kind of maybe late March, early April when I went down in toward the Golf Channel, and I was like, these guys are playing in this rough. I was like, holy crap. So you're spot on. That rough is just ridiculous at Bay Hill.
Yeah, and what I really have enjoyed during my research this week is learning that there's been a real difference in the scoring at this venue since 2020, and it's not a coincidence. They have a superintendent who came on at that time named Chris Flynn, and he did something that I would never think is going to make a course much more difficult, but he actually made the fairways much firmer and wider, and also took away some trees, making it easier off the tee to really get an advantage. But the flip side was he made the rough, there's no basically median cut. It goes straight from fairway to that 3-inch rough. So when a ball is rolling out right, and players are going to obviously take the risk of trying to hit those drives because you can cut the corner and just make these holes so much shorter, you end up in that rough. It's really difficult. The other thing that he did a great job of was he decided to take the rough that was around the hazards, cut that down to where now balls are actually rolling into the bunkers, into the water. And then there was a lot of roll-off that was fringe around the greens. And again, the minute that downslope occurs, he just put in that 3-inch rough. And so it's just made the golf course so much more difficult. And just if you want to know what I mean, so from 2013 to 2019, the winning score was 13 under, 13 under, 19 under, 17 under, 11 under, 18 under, 12 under. Since that change, the winning score has been 4 under, 11 under, 5 under, and 9 under. And the 11 and 9 were due to all-time ball striking performances, both off the tee and into greens by Bryson DeChambeau and Kurt Kitayama. And you see those others, Scotty Scheffler and Terrell Hatton winning at 4 and 5 under. He's really, this is what the tour needs to do a better job of, is figuring out a way that players haven't complained. You haven't heard the players come out and say this is unfair. He's just made it both you can be riskier and it can pay off and you can take advantage of it, but he also has made it much more punishing for these guys. If you take that risk, it's going to be a lot more difficult to actually, get it up and down, save your par, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you were talking about widening the fairways and firming the fairways. There are so many dog legs on this golf course that you really have to be very cognizant of where you're hitting your tee shots, because that exact reason that you said, the fairways are firm. The last thing you want to do is go through a fairway or miss your angle. And this golf course is all about angles off the tee shot to get you in the right position to attack these greens that are small, and they're just very difficult. And another thing,
think people don't realize it. Yes, the course is in Florida, but there is a lot of undulation at Bay Hill. There's a lot of up and down. There's a lot of side hill lies for it to be a Florida course. So just very, very challenging on that aspect. When we get back, it's time to dive into the official DraftKings lineup. So get your phones out. Jay's not here to do it, but maybe he'll watch the show later on. We're joined by Keith Fleming on the line. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is taking it to the hole. Your home for the most live college basketball in the Gulf Coast. The ACC, SEC, and the biggest games in the country. Plus the official station of March Madness.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
Hear every slam dunk in ultra-high fidelity right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 71 with a gentle breeze out of the west at 10 miles per hour. For tonight, a mixture of slight fog and mostly clear skies and a low near 58. Tomorrow, slightly foggy in the morning followed by mostly sunshine and a high around 72. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs.
Visit their new location, Highway 77, south of Tractor Supply.
It's time to pick your path and go big and go bold from Bill Bird Kia. You can drive away in a brand new 2024 Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. The 2024 Telluride protects what matters, and it's built for the long haul. Its technology will connect with confidence, and its upscale, all-around rugged look will take you on to the next adventure. The road is yours. Bill Bird Kia, the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillBirdKia.com.
The only place to get sports betting coverage on the radio. Is this legal? Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We're joined by Keith Fleming on the line. You can follow him at Keith Fleming. That's 2 M's in Fleming. Right there on X for all of his awesome DraftKings and daily fantasy sport content that he puts out on multiple platforms across the fantasy sports world. But it's time. It's that segment. I want to ask a quick question before you dive into your official stuff here, Keith. And is that, I think we probably asked the same question when we had the last signature event. Does it make it harder or easier when you have these small fields that people had to qualify to get into when you're doing your official lineups?
For the lineups, I don't know if it gets any harder. For the betting card, it's much more difficult, especially at a venue like this that overall, normally it's a pretty heavy favorite that wins this event. Somebody's, 30-1 or less with, multiple 20-1 or less winners. Like, of course, Kurt Kitayama came out of nowhere to win last year, broke a million different trends. But overall, I would be kind of shocked if it's not one of those top guys that are elite off the tee and elite with their long irons that ends up winning this event.
Gotcha. And maybe not elite with their putter like Scotty Scheffler, but continues to be a favorite of the tournament week in and week out.
Yeah, this is definitely another one of those courses that kind of de-emphasizes putting. I'm not saying that you can't, if you have a really good putter week, end up winning or contending in this event. But similar to Augusta, which is another place that we see that at, that you can putt as well as you possibly can. Like, you can do, one putt, Keith, or whatever. But if you're not hitting
that's a true thing, too. I've witnessed it with my own eyes.
You're going to have a bad time, which I've also, learned as you've experienced. It's great when you're one-putting 5-6 holes in a row, but they're all for par. And it just seems like when the dam breaks, if you will, and you miss one, it's just like, everything's almost been to perfection just to scramble around because your putter has been so well that the rest of your game just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna say one more thing before you jump into your lineup stuff. Is one of the cool things about the finishing holes on this golf course, because we talk about finishing holes all the time. Just to start on the stretch of the back nine is brutal, and then you play a couple easier par fours, and then you play a par four that they're actually hitting over one of the roads to a sharp dogleg to the right. It's a really weird angle and a very difficult elevated green. But then the next hole you have is an incredibly short by PGA Tour standards par 5 number 16, which gives most people, and I'm fair to say, if they hit a decent tee shot, they're going to be on this green in 2 with a low iron, a 7, an 8, a 9, even a pitching wedge for some of these guys. So it really gives an opportunity on that hole to make up some ground. But then you're followed by one of the more challenging golf holes there, where your tee box is way back up by the houses, hit into a very difficult par 3, and then we obviously all know about number 18. But I like the fact that they throw in this, I don't want to say it's super easy, because they are hitting over a water by the green, and if you land short, it's going to roll back in there. But an opportunity to make an eagle on that 16th hole is probably one of the easier ones out on tour.
Absolutely. And that, again, that's a great point, because when I was looking at this week, one of the first things that I wanted to see is how well do players play par 5s, because the 4 par 5s are by far the 4 easiest holes on the golf course. They consistently play as the 4 easiest holes in relation to par year after year in this event. And it's because, again, this course is so difficult. With the par 3s that rank, I think it's 5th last year, and overall, toughness in relation to par. The par 4s played 9th. And this is sort of a typical Florida course. It's got 84 bunkers. It's not 15 of 18 holes having a hazard like last week, but 9 of 18. And again, because of the way the superintendent has kind of changed the way that he's cut down the grass near those hazards to where balls roll into it, this course has the highest percentage of penalty strokes on tour over the last 3 years. And again, it plays really firm, really fast. So much of succeeding here is about kind of leaving it in the right spot. Very similar, again, to Augusta, right? That's why a lot of people use this as a comp when they're doing their Augusta, prop. You need to have the right angle. You have to be patient. You can be aggressive at times, but you don't want to be over-aggressive, because this course will just bite you. And I am just looking at, elite distance off the tee. And to me, that was where my betting card and DraftKings lineup started, because there's 5 guys in this field that I feel like when you combine their just pure distance off the tee with also their ability to hit fairways, it's such a huge advantage. The top 3 are in a group all by themselves, and that's obviously Rory, the young Swede Ludvig Åberg, and Cam Young. If you just look at their total driving numbers, it's ridiculous that these guys hit the ball 330 yards regularly, but they also hit it right down the fairway. The other 2 names that are just outside of that, but are also, I think, have a huge advantage this week, one of them is Scotty Scheffler. No surprise, he won at this event, just 2 years ago. He's basically, I think, finished in the top 15 all 3 times he's played here. But the other one is the guy that I like the most this week, and people don't think about, and that is Victor Hovland, who can move it as far as any guy on tour. Really has elite distance, but has also continued to get more and more accurate with the driver, which is just a scary thing for the rest of the tour. Some winter trends, which I always try to look at this because it gives you a little bit of information. 16 of the last 17 made the cut at this event the previous year. Kurt Kitayama did not, because it was his first time playing in it last year, so that broke that trend. 26 of the last 28 had a top 10 finish in the current season that they won this again. Again, Kitayama broke that trend. 16 and 19 had a top 20 finish at this event. And ironically, the last 2 kind of broke this trend, because Kitayama had not had a top 20, and actually I think Scheffler was just outside the top 20 as well. This is where I was talking about it's the cream of the crop. 23 of the last 27 winners were top 40 in the official world golf ranking. 11 of the last 12 were top 55 on tour in proximity from 200-plus yards. Remember, you got 4 par 3s that play 200-plus. You got another 5 par 4s that are 450. So you're talking about, somewhere between 6-7 shots at minimum from 200-plus yards, plus the par 5s. And then 14 of 17 were top 40 on par 5 scoring for the year. So, again, the stats I looked at was par 5 scoring. I looked what is your total driving? I want both elite distance but also fairly accurate. And then I'm looking at guys that excel with their long irons. And then this course is one of those weird ones that course correlation, meaning how do they play at this course, play so much stronger than like 95% of the events on tour. So it's important to have a guy with a history there. So for my DK lineup, I'm doing it a little different this week because I think there's such an advantage with these four that I'm kind of calling them my four core, that they'll be in every lineup, and I'm going to move around from them. But it's going to start off with Viktor Hovland, who's 9,900. He's 16-1 to win. You know, he is not somebody known for, you know, the way he scrambles or gets up and down. That's by far the worst part of his game. But if you look at it, he has actually been showing real improvement in this in general in the last 6 months. And for what it's worth, he's done better at this event in strokes gained around the greens than other very difficult venues over the last 2 years. And almost all of his best performances for short game, being around the green and putting, have came on firm courses with thick rough right around the greens, i.e. this course right here. He has seemed to figure out this course with back-to-back top 10 finishes. He had a runner-up in 22, 10th place last year. And I think that he is somebody who can really dominate off the tee. Only Cam Young in the field is averaging more strokes gained off the tee for his career at this event than Viktor Hovland. Adberg, the Swede, is a little bit more risky because he's only played in this event once. He's 9,500. I also like him 20-1 to win. But he did finish 24th, T24th in his one start at this event last year, so not too bad for your first time playing a really difficult course. And if you were designing a course that would highlight what Ludvig Adberg does better than maybe anybody on tour, this is to me that venue, because there is nobody who can carry it further, straighter, and just more consistently than this dude. I mean, he just has elite distance gaining strokes off the tee on the field, as well as his total driving because of his accuracy. He's one of the best long irons on tour, and he's gained strokes on approach in 4 straight events heading into Bay Hill. He's in the top 30 and proximity from 200-plus yards. I really think he's got a great chance to win. And what I love about him is he's not your normal guy without experience. He has proved immediately he is not scared of any guy on tour or any golf course.
Absolutely.
The third guy in that group is Cam Young, who, again, I'm sorry, I know people get frustrated with him because he's never won, and he's consistently, his odds are kind of jacked, but he's 8,700 this week. I do like him 28-1 to win, 5-1 the top 5. I just mentioned he leads the field in strokes gained off the tee at this event in his 2 appearances at over a stroke per event. He finished 13th in his first appearance in this in 2022, followed it up with a 10th place finish last year. Obviously, his putter is my one real concern at this event, but I think this is an event you don't have to putt great to win. He has 2 top 13 finishes here despite losing at least 0.26 strokes on the field in those 2 tournaments. I don't love his value at 28-1, but me and Alan talked about this on the show last week. He's also one of those guys that if he ends up getting a win here, he's going to be more in that Xander Cantley area of 15-16-1, and it's not like those guys win with any regularity either. So I do think that there's some value at that price, and I love him at his price on DK because he's playing really well. His last 3 events, he finished 8th, 16th, and 4th, making 63 birdies in those events, averaging over 90 points on DK, and he's 25th on tour in par 5 scoring. So I mentioned there's a 4th guy in that group, and it's just because he's so low priced. It's Min-Woo Lee, 6,600 on DraftKings. He's right now 45-1 to win, 8-1 to top 5. He's played 14 events across the globe because he does both the World Tour and PGA Tour since November. He's made the cut in all 14. He's finished top 10 in 6 of those, highlighted by his runner-up finish at what we thought was going to be a really difficult course last week at the PGA National. But it is a course that it's not easy to hit off the tee. There's water everywhere, very similar to this one. He is 4th in par 5 scoring this season on tour. That was one of the things we're looking at. He's 12th in proximity to the hole from 200-plus yards. He has elite ball speed and distance. And if he can just drive the ball accurately, it's going to be a huge advantage to him. And again, I just love that he played so well at an event that, should be a lot more similar to this one. Year in and year out, obviously it played a lot easier, but there is a lot of stuff that correlates. Then there's a bunch of guys in that kind of mid 7,000 range that I'm going to kind of sprinkle in there. The top one is Keegan Bradley at 7,400. He's 55-1 to win, 10-1 to top 5, and also like him plus 40 to top 10. Since that change in the setup in 2020, he's finished 11th or better in 3 straight appearances at this event. For his career, he's gaining over 2 strokes on the field, tee to green, and ball striking. He's 6th in the field in total strokes gained at this venue since 2016. He's made the cut here 11 straight times. He loves the Florida swing. Keegan is 2nd over his last 50 rounds in total strokes gained on Florida golf courses, and he consistently gains stroke on approach, 12 straight events, and he's putted well here. In his last 3 appearances at Bay Hill, he has gained strokes on the field on the greens, and oh, by the way, he's 36 in par 5 scoring. Again, these guys are kind of interchangeable from there, but Chris Kirk, who is 7,800, I like him 4-1 to top 10. He has 5 top 5 finishes in his last 7 appearances at this event. Since the new superintendent has came on, he's played, 2 top 8 performances since 2020. And for his career at this event, he's gaining 0.47 strokes or more on the field in so many really important categories in total strokes, tee to green, ball striking around the green, and putting. And again, he's a guy that dominates these Florida swing golf course, plays very well on Bermuda greens. Adam Scott, 7,500. He is also 4-1 to top 10. Another player with a long history of good performances at this venue. Since the change in setup, back-to-back top 31 finishes. But what I like about Scott is historically he's a guy that kind of plays his way into shape, if you will, at the beginning of the season. Usually starts really slow and tries to picking it up by Augusta. Well, this year that has not been the case. He's played 3 events in 2024. He's finished inside the top 20 in all 3 of those, including a 19th place finish at a very difficult venue, the Genesis. He's made the cut in this event, 6 of the last 7. And similar to Kirk and Keegan, I love that core of Hovland, Aberg, Young, and Lee, but I want 2 guys that are really safe with upside in those other spots. And I think in that price range, you can do that with 2 of any of those 3 golfers. One other guy in that price range I want to mention is Corey Connors, 7,800. He is also 4-1 to top 10. He's 9th in proximity from 200-plus yards, great long iron player. His last 3 starts at this event, 21st last year, 11th in 2022, 3rd in 2021, and he's gaining a career 1.4 strokes or more on the field, tee to green, and on approach at this venue. He just can out ball strike guys, and that's a good course for him. One other favorite and one other kind of long shot, I do like Spieth at 9,400. He's 25-1 to win. He's top 4 in the history of this venue in strokes gained at Bay Hill. And since the change and the way the course has been set up, he's finished 4th in both of them, so obviously he doesn't mind this course being more difficult. He's been elite at this venue, tee to green, ball striking, approach, and around the greens. Has not actually putted that well. If he can improve on that, I think he'll have a very good chance to win this, and he's 12th in par 5 scoring. And then finally, if you don't like my Minwoo Lee play, Andrew Putnam, the guy from England, 6,300, he is 4-1 to top 20. His last 3 starts at this venue include a 34th finish and a 4th place finish in 2021. And he is one of those guys that excels at difficult courses because he avoids bogeys. He's a really good putter on Bermuda greens. And when you're only trying to beat, 10, 15 guys, I think there's a good chance he makes the cut. And just one other guy I want to mention is Matthew Pavin, the guy from France who continues to get no respect despite another top 30 finish. You can get him 14-1 to top 5 and plus 550 to top 10 at a course, granted he's never played, but he has been elite this year off the tee, on approach, around the greens, and putting. I think his odds are really still jacked up.
Yeah, plus 11,000 according to CBS to win.
Yeah, so 110-1. That's insane. Yeah. Like, the guy's already won and finished 2nd at the, basically the 2 toughest venues he's played this year in relation to par.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Keith, we got to wrap up here in just a second, but one more quick question about Bay Hill. What's your favorite hole out there? Jay asked me that one yesterday, so I had to ask you that one.
I have to go with 18 because I'm a Tiger mark.
Yeah.
I mean, God, how many moments does Tiger Woods have on 18? I mean, it's unbelievable. It seemed like every year he'd make that putt. I love that they always put that pin all the way over on the far right. You get to see a few balls into the rocks. You get to see some balls go into the rock and somehow get out and come over on the other side of the green. I just think it's a great finishing hole, and historically it's been one that's been really important. You know, a lot of tournaments have come down to a guy either having to make par or birdie on the last hole.
Definitely seems like a golf course where it comes down to 18 quite a bit in the tournament's history. Keith, we appreciate your time as always. For all Keith's information, you can check him out on X. That's at Keith Fleming with 2 M's in Fleming. He's got all his articles, his shows, he's got all his picks, and most of the time they do pretty darn well. Keith, we appreciate your time, and hopefully Jay will be here next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Guys, have a great day. Keep up the great work.
You do the same. We appreciate you, Keith. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back for our final segment of the day.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hello, this is Rick Vossen with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin? We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Sports fans, we love our teams, but let's talk real estate for a moment. Meet Berg Title, your trusted local real estate title and escrow company. Based in downtown Panama City, Berg Title knows the community inside out. They handle everything from title searches to escrow services with expertise. Honest, reliable, and here to make your real estate journey smooth. Remember, it's Berg Title. Call them at 850-250-2900. That's Berg Title, your partner for a worry-free real estate experience in Panama City and Panama City Beach. Bring your party to new heights with Inflate Emerald Coast. They specialize in modern inflatable bounce houses and water slides, perfect for any event. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding, or just a day of fun in the sun, they've got you covered. Plus, with their event planning services, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the party. Inflate Emerald Coast, where fun meets the sky. Visit their website or social media pages today to learn more. Inflate Emerald Coast.
You hear it first. Sports Talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back for our final segment on this beautiful Wednesday. Hopefully you get out there and do something fun outside because it is gorgeous out. Rain washed a little bit of that pollen away yesterday. Got some more weather coming in potentially Friday night into Saturday, so enjoy these next 2 days as much as you possibly can. We are excited. We were talking about him earlier. That's Derek Williams, the state champion wrestler in his class. He's going to be joining us tomorrow on the Inside Drive at 11:20, so make sure you tune in to hear another state champion this week. It's been the week of state champions here on ESPN Northwest Florida across all shows, which is, part of our MO here. We're a smaller market, but we really love the local sports, our high school athletes, and everything going on here in Bay and the surrounding counties. Good stuff from Keith there. Looking forward to this tournament. Just had the chance to play the golf course a few times. It's always fun to watch a PGA Tour event or just any kind of event on a golf course you've played before. That is for sure. But we got some big college basketball games coming up tonight. Had some baseball college college baseball games yesterday and some big implications going on. But I wanted to get David Hayes' opinion on these potential NFL rule changes that are going on. And some of the nuggets, one of the big ones that everybody's talking about coming out of the combine is the change to kickoffs potentially. Nothing has been set into stone. It would take a 75% approval from the league for the owners to put, or from the league owners to be put in effect. The first nugget that came from the potential kick change is teams can only attempt onside kicks in the fourth quarter and if they are trailing. I'm going to say I don't like that one because I'm a huge fan of this surprise onside kick to potentially switch some momentum there in the game. But kind of understand why they're doing it as well. But because that's a huge gamble, taking a little surprise onside kick. Again, none of this is official yet, but certainly on the table that they may vote for.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so teams can only attempt onside kicks in the fourth quarter and if they are trailing.
Yeah, that's bogus.
Yeah. Hopefully that one doesn't get
so many stipulations on the game. We need to take away rules.
Yeah, that's hopefully that one doesn't come into fruition. Because I love, and how many times as a surprise onside kick, I mean, not a ton, but a surprise onside kick gone in favor of the team that did it, and it totally changed the way the game was playing out.
Absolutely. And at the same token, you try to make that come back, with a surprise onside kick, and it doesn't work out in your favor. Yeah. But hey, it doesn't matter. You should be able to do whatever you want to do as far as onside kicks go.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. So hopefully, again, nothing's official yet, but these are some of the big things on the table that resulted. There's other rule changes potentially as well, and I think the hip drop tackle thing is not going to happen from what I was able to understand. They're not going to ban that. But
I just think that one's too much
a part of the game on how you tackle.
Well, that, and then also now you're giving the referees even more judgment calls, and there's no arguing there, so they could be like, I didn't like the way you tackled him, so we're going to throw a flag, and now it's even dicier with all of this is scripted.
Yeah, it just brings more of that conspiracy theory right into play, that's for sure. But the big one that the teams are really potentially looking at making happen is the kick and the new setup zone. Kick and return teams would line up on the receiving team's 40 and 35-yard line, respectively. Neither team could leave on the kickoff until the ball reaches the target zone, which is the 20-yard line into the goal, very similar to the kickoff in the XFL employed in 2023. What are your thoughts on that one, David?
Anything that gets us more kick returns. I think that's such a fun part of the game, and it's been kind of sad just to fair catch wherever you want to.
22% of the kick returns actually got returned in the entire NFL season.
I understand it's a player health and safety issue, but if you can have that be a part of the game and try to minimize some of the concussions and injuries that happen on a play like that, give me that.
Yeah, I mean, and of course your NFL traditionalists are going to be, this is going to blow their minds because it's just going to look so different. It's very different than it's ever been. But like you just said there, David, I think it's the best of both worlds. You're preventing the concussions. I mean, concussions can still happen, but you're just not having that huge running head start. And you're actually going to maybe get some more kickoff returns, and that's more excitement because, I mean, Devin Hester, Hall of Fame inductee this year, he's probably been very disappointed on how it's gone the last few years because he made a career out of returning kicks.
He did. A Hall of Fame career out of it.
Indeed. He'll be inducted this August over there in Canton. But the last piece of that pie is the touchbacks. Teams will get the ball on the 35-yard line if the ball is kicked into the end zone. They'll get the ball at the 20-yard line if the kick is kicked into the target zone and does roll into the end zone. What do you think about that one? Basically penalizing the kicking team if you kick it in for a touchback by giving them the ball on the 35-yard line instead of the 25, right?
So if you
kick the ball into the end zone on the fly and it's a touchback, the other team gets it on the 35.
I don't like that.
But if they kick it inside the target zone and it rolls into the end zone, it's then goes to the 20-yard line. Again,
what if the wind is crazy?
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, again, I think
they're still kicking the ball.
Why do we complicate everything? Just simplify it. Yeah, but just simplify it. Just have it the way that it used to be we got to have rules about everything. And then what if rules create more rules? It's ridiculous.
Yep, and that creates more judgment calls, like you said, and all that good stuff. But yeah, we'll see what all comes out of it, and it's gearing up. I mean, even though NFL is done, the free agency season begins next week, and there's going to be a lot of action going on. The draft here in about a month and a half, that's going to be crazy to see where everybody lands, and the Caleb Williams camp, and they're talking about this could be one of the best wide receiver classes that we've had in a long, long time. And I don't know what's going to happen, and we'll speculate for the next 6 weeks or so on that and see.
I mean, they're doing the same thing in college football right now with some of the rules, which some of them are going to be, like the communications devices that being in their helmets. I think that's a good thing for the game. But the 2-minute warning, all I'm seeing out of that, or the 2-minute timeout, whatever it is they're going to call it, that's just another way for them to get a few more commercials in front of our faces. Yep. And I mean, just like last year, what kind of time did we save by removing the clock stopping after the first down?
It really didn't feel like any.
No, it just gave us more commercials.
Yeah, it added more commercials in, and your total game time pretty much stayed the same. That's for sure, and it just reaffirms everything that the almighty dollar is certainly what is driving some things. That's for sure. All right, we got a big game coming up tonight right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, and that is the Orlando Magic. They're going to be tipping off at 6 p.m. following the afternoon underdogs. They are at the Wizards, but that play-by-play coverage will be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As Orlando, New Orleans is about the same, 6 1/2 dozen of the other. I know Atlanta's about 6 hours too. So
as far as
distance,
travel, I thought you said 6 and a dozen. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I got nothing. But yeah, so we're Florida. We're in the state of Florida, so it's pretty cool that we got some Magic games right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. But there's also some big college basketball games tonight, with the biggest one being what we talked about at the very beginning of the show, and that's number 4 Tennessee at number 17 South Carolina, with the potential SEC regular season title on the line. Again, I think if Tennessee wins that one, they're certainly going to have the go-ahead to potentially make that one happen. South Carolina needs to win this one to have an opportunity. But, Dave, what do you think about this game tonight?
Wait, why do they need? Oh, you're just talking about for like the SEC
the regular season title.
Who really cares about that? Yeah. I mean, okay, let me say this. I'm sure some teams do.
Yeah.
I could care less about that. But I guess it gives you that bye.
And it's also for tournament seeding, yeah.
I hate buys.
Yeah.
I think it works out better for college basketball, but like every time that the Braves get the bye week in since we've added the 7th seed, doesn't work. When the Titans get not saying that it doesn't work. It didn't work out for the Braves. Tennessee Titans, when they were the number 1 seed, golly. So
it's just more personal for you.
Exactly,
there. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just ranting on the way it affects me personally.
But I think baseball, like you said, it's a little different because it's an entire series, but just a single game, and you're probably playing, pretty soon after that. But also, seeding implications is certainly a big thing. But who do you like in this one? Tennessee's favored 5.5 on the road, and kind of a low point total at 139.5 in both. Obviously, Tennessee has one of the best defenses in the country, but South Carolina is no slouch when it comes to scoring.
I like South Carolina in the game tonight. I know Tennessee's a 5.5 point favorite, and they're on the road tonight, but I think South Carolina is going to wreak a little havoc, and then they have to get it, and then they have to dive into some of those tiebreakers depending on what happens over the weekend. So give me South Carolina, and it's they're having a pretty good season, and like you mentioned earlier in the show today, they were not expected to have any of this type of success. They were supposed to be looking like Missouri.
Yeah, absolutely, which makes it even more fun. But I agree with you. I think the Gamecocks are going to, in Tennessee's. I mean, kudos to Tennessee. Their schedule has ended up being absolutely wild with the teams that they've had to play that are ranked in the top 25, and here's another one coming up for them as well. But I think South Carolina stops that streak Tennessee's been on and gets the win tonight as well. But they don't have an easy task in that final game of the season. They got to travel over to Starkville and take on Mississippi State, who has upset a few people so far this year. So even if go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say Mississippi State could be they're one of those teams that's kind of fighting for their tournament life right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So a big win for them at home could push them where they need to go. But it's certainly not over. But yeah, getting back to Tennessee's schedule, they've played. They just played number 14 Alabama. They won. They played number 11 Auburn. They won. They beat Texas A&M, Missouri, Vandy, Arkansas. Their last loss was back to Texas A&M on the road, and they beat Kentucky on the road, who was ranked number 10 at the time. They beat number 22 Ole Miss, number 20 Illinois earlier in the season. They lost to Kansas when they were number 1. North Carolina, I think Tennessee, if they win out, they deserve potentially a number 1 seed in the tournament. A lot of people are projecting them in the number 2, but I don't see why if they win out they would not be a number 1 seed.
Yeah, that's a good point. UConn's more than likely going to be number 1 overall seed, right? And then
Purdue probably. I thought Illinois was going to get.
Did Baylor end up beating?
Baylor won over the weekend.
I think they had Texas last night. I want to say
I know I saw it briefly, and Texas was up. I'll see what the score was in that game. But Tennessee, I mean, obviously they're playing South Carolina, and they go back home with no easy task to play Kentucky. Kentucky's one of those teams. They didn't have the greatest start to the year, but they're trending in the right direction. And I wouldn't want to play Kentucky in the tournament. That's for sure. They have some good history there
in the SEC tournament. Yeah. But then you get to the big dance. It's like, let me play them in the second round because they're more than likely going down.
They're a little notorious for that. Yeah, let me check out the Baylor Bears here. Did they get the dub? They must not be in the top 25.
Yeah, they got to be almost top 10, like 11 or so.
I thought so, but I don't see them here on. It was yesterday. Yeah, I saw them on the TV yesterday. Baylor, Kansas State, Florida, Tulane, Dayton. All right, I'll just go over the Big 12. Big 12 basketball. Baylor Bears. Let's see. Was it not yesterday?
I might have been tripping. Maybe it was the day before.
Monday. It felt like yesterday, but no, they ended up winning 93. Yeah, they are 11. 93-85 in that one. So Baylor Bears pushing hard. It's kind of like the Chiefs in the playoffs in the NFL. Watch out for those Baylor Bears if you want to do a futures to win the national championship.
That would be the time if you're going to do that, right?
Absolutely.
I still like Houston, though, what they've been able to do. I mean, you just never know when you get to this point in time of the year, especially right now. I mean, you once you see the tournament and how it falls out or how that's all going to shake out, what the bracket's going to look like, even then, is it really hard to actually pick that champion because you got to have that mix of blue bloods and new bloods.
And there's gonna be upsets, and it's just, can you guess which upset's gonna happen? And it seems like each year we're getting. Last year we had a 16 seed.
Yeah. Was it
Virginia? I think was a few years ago.
The first one they lost to UMBCC.
We had a big. Was it Purdue? Purdue lost last year.
Yeah, but were they a 1 seed or a 2 seed?
They might have been a 2 seed last year.
I think they lost to St. Peter's.
Yeah.
Did they go down again? And they'll be more than likely a high seed again.
They're projected as a number 1 seed right now, and they've had some tough losses. Illinois was leading them at halftime, but they came out and won it. But
I think we did have a 1 seed go down again last year.
We did. We talked about it earlier this spring, and I forget exactly who it is, but we'll dive into it more later on this week because we are out of time, and the Inside Drive is coming to an end. We appreciate you all listening out there. Don't forget the Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4 p.m., and followed by that will be the Orlando Magic and the Washington Wizards tip-off at 6 p.m. right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate our listeners. We had so much fun today. We'll do it one more time tomorrow, and hopefully Jay will be here for the whole show. You're listening to The Inside Drive. You'll have a great rest of your day.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
Give it to me, Reiner. Are you rooting for the Dodgers or rooting against them?
Against the Dodgers.
All right. Hey, we're just